Hey, what is up, guys? Clausex here, and today I'm going to talk to you about how you can make your worst lift your best lift, or to at least improve on your worst lifts. There's definitely a way to do it, and you're not stuck with those bad lifts, those bad numbers forever. And before I get into that, I just want to thank you guys for being patient with me while I figure out filming equipment. I got some stuff coming in the mail, so I know that these filming dimensions are not ideal, but they will improve. So thank you for your patience. All right, let's get to the point. So, how to improve on your worst lift? There's one word that I want you guys to know: volume. Okay, volume is the key. Volume will change everything. So, that being said, how often do you do your worst lift? How often do you do the thing that you suck at? Now, I made a YouTube video in the past called I Hate the Bench Press. Now, the point of that video was to emphasize that the lifts that you suck at are probably the lifts that you practice the least, or that you don't put as much emphasis on, or the lifts that you just don't care about. And that's usually a good indicator that you need to work on it more. It's something that you need to improve on. So the things that you are the worst at essentially give you a way for what your weaknesses are and what you need to improve on. So if you know that, you know the things that you need to work on. You know the things that you need to start adding more, accessory lifts in the gym, adding more, supplementing more of that style of movement. So if you suck at the bench press, you might want to start supplementing more dumbbell press variations, inclines, declines, stuff like that. So that's just one example. Another example for me was that for strongman, the bread and butter of strongman is essentially the deadlift, the overhead press, and carrying events. So overhead pressing I was not very good at, so that was really going to hinder me if I wanted to be in the sport of strongman. How am I going to be a successful athlete if I can't do one of the three major components of strongman? So that being said, I knew it had to be done. I couldn't just neglect it because it was going to be exposed in a competition. Okay, I couldn't just pretend. I couldn't just in the gym, not really try, because I was going to be exposed, which was really good motivation for me to pick up the slack, essentially. So I started thinking, how can I improve my overhead press if I'm so bad at it? So like I said, I started including a lot more variations. I started doing things that improve your strength, not only your strength, but you should also improve your stability. Do things that challenge you in all realms, that challenge you in terms of strength, stability, stamina. All those are really great things. So you need to include all the different variations of that lift that you're trying to improve. So I was trying to improve my overhead press, and then, I started getting a little bit better at it, but the progress was just coming so slowly. I wanted it to come a little bit faster. So add another day into your week, okay? Another day where you do that lift. It seems crazy at first, I never thought that it would be possible for me to deadlift more than once a week, or overhead press with a barbell, military press heavy lift. I never thought it'd be possible to do that more than once a week. But if you get flexible and you kind of rewire your brain and get that stigma out of your head as to, I can only do this one lift once a week, or I'll be too tired, I gotta wait till next week. If you do the lift that you don't like, let's say you're doing bench press, for example, again, you're doing a 3 sets of 10, or 4 sets of 6, or 3 sets of 8, whatever you're doing. You're doing that one time. You're only getting that small amount of volume in over the course of a week. That's one day. So if you only do it once a week, you're giving yourself 6 rest days before you do it again. That is more than enough. You do not need that much rest time if you're trying to improve something. So what you need to do is add another day, or incorporate it into another workout. So I like to do the push-pull. So I have 2 push days and 2 pull days. That gives me a lot of variation, or a lot of room to be flexible and sprinkle other things in. So that worked really well for me. And by doing that, I increased the volume, okay? The volume is everything. Volume is the key to your growth, because you can try this, try that, try this exercise, this variation. It doesn't matter if you're not getting the right amount of volume, because with the volume is like it's exposure to the thing you suck at. Volume is essentially your practice, right? If you suck at math, you do a lot of math, you need to practice math, right? You need to get more volume of math in your life if you want to be better at it. So the biggest takeaway from this video is that if there's something you suck at, or a lift that you're not good at, something you want to improve at, double down on it, all right? You don't need to work on the things that you're so good at if you're trying to balance yourself out, right? Like my deadlift has always been really good. It's always been really strong. So it was never something I was really worried about for my strongman competitions. But I was worried about my overhead pressing. So do I really need to add more deadlift volume if I'm trying to increase my overhead press? No, not really. So I may want to use my energy more in my overhead pressing. Now, over the course of your long-term development, it's not always a good idea to, have way more of one thing than the other thing. But if you're trying to improve a lift, over the course of your life, this small span of when you are increasing more of one thing than the other, it's not going to affect you that badly, and you can always balance out later, especially if the other movements you're really good at. Another example for you, and I'll wrap the video up. So I knew already before I got into strongman that my push strength was not as strong as my pull strength. So for the time being, I'm like, okay, I don't need to go so hard on my pull. I'm going to have 2 push days, 1 pull day, and then like a leg and grip day, and all those other weird exercises that I like to do for strongman. So 2 push days, 1 pull day, and a leg day. So I in adding a second push day to my week, I essentially doubled the amount of push volume that I was doing. So naturally, my push gains started coming, started getting stronger in my overhead press, and that's really all there is to it. If you suck at something, you need to practice it. Add a little bit of volume, and even emphasize it. Put a little bit more of it into your routine. You'll get used to it. The first couple weeks, it's going to feel rough. It's going to feel like, I've never done this exercise more than once a week. I don't know how I'm going to recover. Trust me, you will. The body adapts. It's what it does, and it's what it's really good at. So after a couple weeks, you'll get used to it. You could even do, I sucked at overhead pressing. I was overhead pressing 3 times a week before my competition, and it felt fine. It felt like just like I was doing any other workout. The next day, I wasn't like over sore in my shoulders over the course of a week. I got used to it. You'll get used to it. So point of this video, if you suck at something, double down on it, and you'll improve. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me grow my channel. Follow the Facebook page, follow the Instagram. More updates there. Thanks for watching. Klaus Next out.